Hello, I'm Amy Mikkelson. I'm a primary prevention coordinator at the Utah Department of Health in their Violence and Injury Prevention program. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about suicide prevention in the workplace and introduce you to some great new resources that we'll be launching. First, let's talk about why suicide prevention in the workplace is so important. We know that Utah for many years has ranked in the top 10 for suicide deaths, and more importantly, most deaths that happen in Utah due to suicide are among working-aged adults. We also know that about 60% of adults in the United States are in the workforce, and so we spend an incredible amount of time in our waking hours in our workplaces. And so the workplace is really a critical area for doing suicide prevention and not only saving lives, but also doing things that are going to help our workplaces be more efficient and more effective in the work that they do. So what are we doing? So we've put together this toolkit, and this is a collaboration between the Utah Suicide Prevention Coalition and its workplace work group and the Salt Lake Chamber of Commerce. We have worked together to create this document that will help work sites understand the importance of suicide prevention in the workplace and have some great action steps for how they can start making those changes in their organization. So to start with, this toolkit, the way it's broken out, first we kind of go into the different types of prevention, because we know that to do prevention well, and especially when we're trying to prevent suicide deaths, it's really important for us to be comprehensive in how we do this. So we have to think about different levels of prevention. And the first one is upstream. Upstream is basically the same thing as primary prevention. It's really things that we do in our organization that can prevent people from getting to a point where maybe they're having a suicidal crisis, or maybe they're experiencing higher levels of stress that affects their mental health. So what are those things that we can do in our organizations to kind of prevent people from ever getting to that point and creating connections and creating support within the organization? The next level is midstream, and we also call this intervention. These are strategies that we implement that kind of help people learn how to seek help when they're needing help, and it also helps us know how to reach out to other people when they're having a hard time and how we can intervene and get them to other resources to help them, hopefully before it becomes a crisis. And then the last one is downstream, or what we call postvention. And downstream postvention is really how do we respond in our organizations when we've lost somebody to suicide, whether it's an employee or maybe a relative of an employee. Like, how do we support the workforce in a way that promotes healing and gets people to the resources that they need during that time and during their grief? So going into the toolkit more specifically, you can see here that the toolkit is broken down into different sections. And the great thing about each of these sections, we have the pre-action, the upstream, the midstream, the downstream, and then getting started. And so we're giving you some really actionable ways to really start this process. So in each section, what it includes is a definition of each of the section and of what these strategies, how they're going to look. Gives you examples of ways that you can do that, as well as access to resources here in our state that can help get you started, whether that's needing to find somebody to come in and do a training or even having access to other national resources that we have available. We want to make sure that this toolkit provides you with kind of a one-stop shop for all of your needs. So as you're using it, you have access to all the things that you're going to need in order to do something really meaningful in your organization. And then, of course, action steps. How do you even get started? Oftentimes, we get these toolkits and we're not really sure how to start. We have all this great information. We want to make sure that you are prepared to actually start taking action as soon as you read this toolkit. Some other things that we're doing. So the Live On Suicide Prevention Campaign in Utah, this is a brand new suicide prevention and awareness campaign, and I'd like to read to you kind of the mantra behind this campaign. Live On is a statewide effort to prevent suicide by promoting education, providing resources, and changing our culture around suicide and mental health. Together we can get through, reach out, lift up, look ahead, and live on. And really what this is about is this is a mantra for anybody who's been impacted by suicide, whether it's somebody who's had a suicide attempt and has survived their attempt, somebody who's lost somebody to suicide. We want to make sure that people have an opportunity to have hope and find their way to live on. And the Salt Lake Chamber of Commerce is partnering with the Live On campaign to promote this campaign more among the workforce. So, like I said, this is a state and public campaign. It was funded by both legislative dollars and private donations. It's a hub of resources too. So if you go to our website at liveonutah.org, it's a hub of resources. So if you're needing help, if you're in crisis yourself and you need help and you need to find those resources, you can find those. If there's somebody in your life that you want to help and you're not sure how to get started, there's resources for that. And then there's great resources for both work sites and community members to find resources for education and other opportunities to build awareness around suicide prevention in their community. And like I said, the Salt Lake Chamber of Commerce is going to be promoting this with our workforce. And so we really look forward to this really great opportunity to partner together and really work hard to make sure that we're raising awareness about suicide. But not only that, we're increasing hope in our community that we can prevent suicides as long as we're working together. And so now it's a call to action for you. As we launch this toolkit, the first thing you can do is access the toolkit. Assess how your organization can integrate suicide prevention into your workplace. And this toolkit really gives you some meaningful action steps to be able to start doing that today. And promote the Live On campaign in your organization to really work towards building a culture of safety for all of our workforce. And there is my contact information if you'd like to reach out to me, get additional information, have questions. Please reach out. I'm always happy to hear from our community and our workforce.